Thanks for tuning in to TigerTV.tv. I'd like to invite our good friend Josh Nix to give us his Week 6 edition of Nix Picks. How's it going, Josh?
It's going great. Last week was pretty interesting. Hopefully we'll have another good week of football.
Yeah, that's right. You went 3-1.
3-1, yes. 2-2 against the spread, so it was a much better week. Improvement from the past 2 weeks. Hopefully we can keep that going.
Absolutely. Well, we don't have a lot of good early games this week, Josh.
We don't.
But tell us what we do have.
Well, we do have one decent early game this week as the Packers and Ravens square off in Baltimore. The Packers are coming off a lackluster win versus Detroit last Sunday. I don't think the Packers should have struggled like they did to win last week. The score didn't tell the story of the game. They're also going to be without Clay Matthews for a few weeks with a broken thumb. The Ravens, meanwhile, are coming off a big comeback win at Miami. The Ravens defense stepped up and made plays last week. Ray Rice was also a lot more involved last week coming back from an injury. Whether Baltimore will continue to give Rice the ball that many times is to be determined. I think the injury to Clay Matthews is going to hurt an already shaky Green Bay defense, and I like the Ravens' front seven to be all over Rodgers in this game. Green Bay's offensive line is weak. I like the Ravens as a home underdog, 29-24.
You know, Aaron Rodgers started off with a really good game, and then Cincinnati happened, and Rodgers just looks not himself these last few games.
He hasn't. Part of that is the offensive line. Their offensive line's been in shambles all year, but I think eventually they'll pick it up, get it going as the season goes on.
Do you think the bye week will help them?
Well, the bye week did. It sort of helped. I didn't help as much as I thought it would last week because they played Detroit coming off the bye. Ravens front seven, they've been playing pretty well recently, rushing the passer quietly. Nobody's talking about them a lot. So I think they're going to have success against Green Bay's O-line this Sunday.
I agree. All right, Josh, you picked against the Saints last week, and it didn't work out very well for you. So what do you have in store for New Orleans this week?
All right, well, the Saints are still undefeated. They take their undefeated record to Foxborough to take on a Patriots team that suffered its first loss last week. The good news for the Pats is Gronk is finally coming back, and he will make his 2013 debut. That's obviously going to boost an offense that failed to score a single touchdown in Cincinnati last week. The Saints defense continues to make plays as they forced multiple turnovers in their win at Chicago last week. The key to the Saints' win last week was getting that early lead, which forced Chicago to abandon Forte and start passing. I think this is going to be a close game, but I just don't see Belichick losing back-to-back games. He knows how to make adjustments. He knows how great Sean Payton is on the other sideline. I think he doubles up Graham for a little bit, Breeze's favorite target, and will force him to throw elsewhere. That will work well enough, in my opinion, to help them win this game. I like the Patriots at home, 31-27.
You're picking against the Saints again?
Again, I have better reason to do that this week.
Do you want to be fired?
No. Hey, we are talking NFL football here. It doesn't matter. Obviously the Saints are the closest team to Baton Rouge, but at the same time, there are 31 other teams in the NFL. I think the Patriots, they don't lose two in a row often. Belichick knows how to make those kind of adjustments. I think they win this game at home, especially with Gronk coming back. That's going to be a big boost to that offense because Brady hasn't had a lot to throw to the past few weeks. So that'll also open things up for the young receivers as well.
I agree. All right, well, we haven't heard from the NFC in a while. Anything going on?
Well, we do have a rivalry game on Sunday Night Football as the Cowboys and Redskins duel it out at Jerry World. Dallas is coming off a crazy game last week in which Romo once again threw a key pick late to aid in a close Dallas loss. Despite being 1-3 and having one of the worst defenses in the NFL, the Redskins are only a half a game out of first in the pathetic NFC East. RG3 has looked off so far as he is still recovering from knee surgery. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think both quarterbacks throw all over the pathetic secondaries. And I think Dallas, they will fail to cover the 6-point spread, but I think they win a close one, a high-scoring one, 36-33 over Washington.
Does Romo throw another late pick?
You know what? It could happen, but at the same time, Washington's secondary has been awful this year. I think they can get it done. And I think Dallas's defense hasn't been great this year, but they could force the Redskins into making a key turnover late to turn the tide in that game.
Absolutely.
So the red-hot Colts take on the Chargers on Monday Night Football in San Diego. The Colts are coming off a huge win at home against one of the best teams in the NFL in Seattle. Andrew Luck once again came up clutch in the fourth as the Indy defense also made key plays and stops, which is a new pattern that has developed in 2013 as the Colts are a much more physical team up front as they have been in the past. The Chargers, meanwhile, are coming off a bad loss at Oakland where Rivers threw 3 picks, and the offense never really got it going. They never got in a rhythm. The Chargers, other than last week, though, they have improved a lot from last year. Rivers has had a different demeanor to him this year. He's been a much better leader this year so far. However, I think this is going to be one of those typical San Diego games where they will fight hard through 3 quarters. They may or may not have the lead heading into the 4th quarter, but I think the combination of Rivers screwing up and Andrew Luck coming up in the clutch will guide the Colts to their 4th straight win. I like the Colts on the road, 27-24.
Wow. Going down there to see San Diego and winning it?
I would love to go down and see my Colts win that game, but hopefully I'll have to watch it from at home.
But Colts quarterbacks love to throw interceptions to San Diego.
Yes, they do have a history of that. I do remember the 6 interception game 5 years ago by Peyton Manning. But no, the Colts, I think this is a young team that's finally learning how to win. Like new coach Chuck Pagano, they've got that defense playing a lot more physical than they did in the past. Andrew Luck is just coming up clutch again in the 4th quarter. They have Trent Richardson. They're running the ball a little better. The Colts are getting it together. They're going to be a very dangerous team if they keep this up going into the playoffs.
Especially if Reggie Wayne can keep catching the ball the way
Yes,
he is.
Reggie Wayne is consistent as they come in this league, and he's still chugging along pretty well after about 11, 12 years in the league. Probably has 3 or 4 years more in front of him. He's a great target for Andrew Luck. This team, I mean, Denver is clearly the favorite in the AFC.
Right.
New England's up there as well, but don't count out the Colts. They're definitely going to make some noise come playoff time.
Well, hey, you heard it. You got to watch out for those Colts. All right, Josh, as always, thanks for stopping by. Be sure to tune in next week for another edition of Nix Picks.